Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. I am Donatello, and this is The Way. Quick word from God, and it's out of Matthew 14, and we go down to paragraph 25, and in here we're talking about Jesus is walking on the water. The disciples see him, they're scared, they think they see a ghost. God's like, nah, it's me. Come on, come out with me. I want to show you. I want to show you what I'm capable of, what you're capable of doing through me. What you're capable of doing with me right here by your side, I want to show that to you. And so the only one who has enough faith to get out of the boat is Peter. And Peter's walking on the water. Then he notices all the wind and he realizes where he is and he sinks. And God is saying, you are on the path to your purpose. You are on the path to your purpose and you're going strong, but then you get a negative comment over here, or someone in your family doesn't understand what you're doing over here, and now all of a sudden you start to sink. And it may not be just a quick whoop under the water, but you're slowly going down. The more you seek the outside world's opinion, the faster you are going to fall down, because we are not of this world, and that's something we need to realize. We are not from this world. We do not belong in this world. We live in the enemy's territory. This is Satan's domain, and that's where we live. And we've adapted and we've cloaked ourselves in culture so that we can fit in and we can kind of go undetected. But God's saying, I'm calling you to be bold. I'm calling all of my children to come and be bold. I don't want you to be lukewarm. I don't want you to pretend and quiet, and when you're behind closed doors you're all about me, but when you're out in the world you're all about him and her and what they think and what they're doing, and their purpose looks a little bit more glamorous than your purpose, so you kind of want to piggyback on that, but you're then getting distracted. And God's saying, stop the distractions. Don't look at the wind. Don't look at all the scariness that's around you, okay? Produce the plan. It takes daily faith. You don't just wake up and have a strong bond with God. We have something that's in us that connects us to God. Our conscience, that is God, okay? It's telling us right from wrong. Then you hear everyone else clamoring in, and it starts to question. You start to second guess yourself. And God's saying, don't second guess yourself. You know what you're here for. You know what I sent you for. You know what I told you. Don't let anyone tell you that that wasn't God that you heard, or how could you hear God? He doesn't speak, or any of those things. Do not listen to the lies of the enemy, because the lies of the enemy are sent to stop you in your tracks because of your purpose being so great. See, faith increases when you talk about faith. So God is saying, keep talking, keep coming to me, keep seeking me. When you start to sink and you're sinking slowly, look up, because there's his hand right there. And he's like, if you just grab it, and acknowledge it, that I'm here, I will lift you right up out of that water and have you doing something that no one else did. See, because you are the exception, not the rule. The exception. See, things that didn't happen for other people will happen for you because you are the exception, just like Peter. No one has walked on water but two people, Jesus and Peter, the exception. He believed that he could. That's a scary thing, to take a leap of faith and say, I'm going to walk out on the water in the deep. And that's where you are right now. You're in the deep. And God's saying, get out of the boat. Step out of the boat and come to me. Step out of the boat and do the business. Step out of the boat and start the YouTube channel. Step out of the boat and write the book. Step out of the boat and write the script. God is telling you to do these things. And it doesn't matter if you see other people failing, okay? What happens to them does not dictate or determine what is going to happen to you. You are the exception. You are the one that people are going to look back at and say, it is possible because I saw her do it. This is possible because I saw him do this. I didn't think that was possible. I didn't think I could go to college. I'm the first one in my family. Boom. Now it's possible. Now your sister sees it. Now your brother sees it. Now people see it. You are the exception. You are not the rule. The rule tells you of this world that you can't do it, that it's impossible and it's never going to get done and no one's ever done it, so what makes you think you're going to? And the exception is God saying, no, I called you to do this. If I called you to do this, then you're more prepared to do this for anything in the world. This isn't a statement of superiority. This is a statement of distinction. The difference between them and you is you're the exception. Keep that in mind and keep your faith strong. God is saying, I need you to be bold. Bold. If you are not bold, then you're going to sink. And you're going to sink rapidly. And there are going to be things that I am calling you to do that are terrifying, that are going to not make sense to anyone else, including you. And I'm going to tell you to do it. And I need you not only to be bold, but I need you to be obedient. Because when you mix those two things together, you get this dynamic that changes everything. Because when you're obedient, you take time to sit with me. You take time to understand where I'm leading you and where I'm calling you, and not just in the big picture. But the big picture takes little steps. It takes day-to-day steps. You can't just wake up, hop up out of bed, get your swag on and go, and now your purpose is fulfilled. It takes time and it takes steps. Steps of obedience, steps of sitting with him, steps of sitting in silence, of praying, of waking up and asking him where to lead you this day, to opening up your Bible and letting things pop out at you, because you may not understand it, but there are tons and tons and tons of YouTube tutorials, YouTube videos, content that you can search and learn about the Bible, and then go into your actual Bible. Open it up and have things jump out at you. That's what happens with me. I pick up my Bible and things jump out at me. This is God speaking to you. God's speaking to you, and you will get a revelation when he speaks to you. And that will help guide you, and it'll help anchor you back into your purpose. If you're watching this, that means you are not average. That means you're the exception. That means you are a prince and a princess, an heir to the throne. And having be a prince and a princess means you need to act with a kingdom state of mind. You can't be acting, running around like everyone else, because you're not like everyone else. You're the exception. You're the royalty. Your Father is the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords. He rules over everything, and you are heir to that throne. When you start changing that mentality to a kingdom mentality, to I am a princess, I am a prince, you start changing your actions. Because you could look at the royals. The royals have to act a certain way. They're brought up to act a certain way, to think a certain way, to be charitable, to be kind, to be personable. They have all these rules that they have to follow. And it's so similar with us. We have all these rules that we have to follow, but we were given them in the Bible. We were given them to learn and then to emulate what our Father looks like, because we represent him. We represent the King as princesses and princes. And so when we do this, people now judge all of us off of one person's actions. So if you go into a room and you're judgmental, immediately they think that following Jesus is being judgmental. If you go into a room and you act loving and kind and giving and generous, now all of a sudden they think your Father, the King of Kings, is all of those things, which he is. What we do and how we act is so important. God is saying, be the exception because you are. Notice the worth. Notice the crown I've placed upon your head. I died to place this crown upon your head, to create you and make you royalty. Your purpose. Oh, your purpose is so important in this world. And you think, how could it be me? How could he have chosen me? This can't be right. You think about the vision and then you forget it, because it doesn't seem possible, but God's saying, I can make you walk on water. Everything is possible for those who are called to my purpose. And let me tell you, even bad things, even the storm and the winds and the waves that go around work for his good. They work for your purpose, whether you know it or not. Whether you choose to shut your eyes to it or keep them open, God is working out your purpose. And he is holding his hand out saying, come, come. And he's not calling just you, he's calling everyone. But the difference is you are the one who will respond. Just like the disciples, he didn't specifically say, Peter. He said, come. And Peter came. God is saying, come to me. Come, take a chance in the deep. It looks scary, and it's safer in the boat. But when you step out of the boat and onto the water, into the deep, you will see supernatural things occur. Because this is God saying anything can happen alongside me. By yourself, nothing. You can only go so far. But with me, you can take it to anywhere. There is no limit to where you can go when you focus on God, when you keep your eyes on Him. When you're walking on the water, don't look down, don't look back, and don't look around. Look straight ahead at Him. Look straight ahead. And when you start to hear other people doubt you and tell you your dream is crazy and tell you these things that you're doing is wild, just like people did to Noah, right? Remind yourself you're the exception, just like everyone in the Bible. David was the exception. A teenager slaying a giant, becoming a king. Exception. Daniel being thrown into the lion's den. Nothing like that has ever happened and lived. Boom. 3 Hebrew boys that were thrown into the furnace came out not even smelling like fire, not even smelling like their circumstances. Exception, right? Esther, an orphan who becomes queen. Exception. You are the exception. You are not the rule. You are not the everyone else. You are anointed and you have a purpose. And when you start focusing on your purpose and He who gave you the purpose, you step from lukewarm to boldness. You become the lion and you become like your Father. You become and you step into your royalty. You place the crown upon your head and you carry yourself as if you are the next queen. Now let me ask you, have you ever seen the Queen of England act out of turn? Have you ever seen her act wild and crazy? No, she's strategic with what she does. She plans before she speaks, right? She plans before she does. She thinks before she speaks. And that's the same way we need to act. We need to think before we speak. We need to consult He who created us before we go and do. And we need to be in constant communication, loving, generous, kind, giving, showing who we are and whose we are. We represent God. We represent Christ. Let us be the best representatives He has. Let people look at us and think, oh, Christians are awesome. Not Christians are so judgmental or condemning or rude or harsh or whatever. No. When you act like Christ, God puts a crown upon your head. He puts a crown upon your head and others notice. People get attracted to the crown. They're attracted to the crown because of the actions that come along with it. Don't tarnish your crown because you're so busy trying to impress the world. God's saying, impress me, the King, not the world, not the jokers. Don't impress the jokers. Who cares? Impress me because I have the authority to place the crown upon your head and make you royalty. I love you. God loves you. And I will see you back later.